You're touching all bases. All right, welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't touch that dial. Listen, we have my guest today. I really appreciate the fact that she left in the middle of, not in the middle, but she's going with a major investigation reference to a high school here in Montgomery County, and also a murder that just happened just recently. So I appreciate the fact that she comes here, and we're not going to talk about murder. We're going to talk about helping kids. And so when I heard that she was involved in getting a building to help kids, so I know as much about it as you. So I'm going to ask her to tell me, I'm going to tell you who we got here. Risa Ferman, District Attorney in Montgomery County. Okay. I'm not going to shake hands. I got a little bit of a cold. And the doctor said, don't shake hands. That's all right. Now, Risa, welcome to the Cisco Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, tell us what you're doing here. Man, you're so busy, with investigating, and now you stop and get over here to help kids that need help. Go ahead. Tell me what it's all about.
You're terrific, and thank you so much for having me here today. I appreciate the opportunity to tell people about Mission Kids and to tell them what we're doing. And you're right, we are very busy in the DA's office and in the law enforcement community. There's a lot going on right now, particularly here in Norristown and out in Pottstown. But protecting kids, keeping our kids safe, that is the most important priority that we have in law enforcement and that I have for the DA's office. And so I'm always happy to come talk about the programs we have. Going back to when I was first assistant DA and even—
How long ago was that?
Well, I was just elected last year, so,
Was it a 6-year term?
Well, my term is 4 years, but before then, I was working as our first assistant DA.
Okay.
And before then, just a child abuse prosecutor. I did a lot of child abuse cases.
Were you there when I was there? County
No,
detective?
I think we missed each other.
No, right.
We missed each other. I came in the beginning of '93. I think you were
I
you were
left.
already a big shot out here in Norristown. But from the time I was doing those cases, I really got to see firsthand how bad the system was for kids. And we treated kids just like little—
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do I mean bad? Like, what's bad?
Yeah.
Right? Bad was we would take a kid that had been a victim of something, physical abuse, sexual abuse, anything.
Okay.
And we would make this child over and over again repeat what happened. He would talk to a police officer, he would talk to a social worker, he would talk to a detective, he would talk to a psychiatrist, he would go to a doctor, talk to a social worker, talk to a prosecutor. I mean, he could talk to a dozen people or more before anybody could even figure out whether or not to file charges. And then if they filed charges, he'd talk to a dozen more people. And all of them really well-intentioned professionals. Some trained, some not.
Yeah.
But for a child who's already—
Someone dropped the ball.
You know what? Some of them dropped the ball. Some of them just because they were doing the best they could, but the kid had to talk about things over and over again.
Right.
The system we had, the criminal justice system and the law enforcement system would traumatize these kids even more.
Right.
And I would see, as the prosecutor, the devastation that they had to live with. I would talk to the parents about, how hard it was. And I would have moms and dads say to me, do they have to talk again?
Right.
Why do they have to talk again? And when will this be over?
Yeah.
And I lived with that frustration for so many years. And eventually really got to the point that for myself, I said, we got to do something else.
Right.
And one of our judges, Judge Tressler, who
Judge Tressler, I know him, right.
Judge Tressler, he turned me on to this. Judge Tressler, years and years ago, maybe at this point, 14, 15 years ago, he turned me on to the idea of a child advocacy center. And it started down in Huntsville, Alabama, with a DA who saw the same things that I was seeing and said, you know what, there's a different way to do it. And what he did was he built a center, like a location.
Right.
And instead of the child going from place to place and being interviewed multiple times, we take the child to this one safe place, comfortable place, and we come to the child.
Oh, okay.
Right? We bring the mountain in.
So he be meeting different people and picking up ideas from different, institutions or detention centers. You always learn something from some other guy that's,
Well, like this.
So that's a good idea.
Instead of everybody doing their own little piece separately, we come together. And this is a little table here, but if you can envision the concept, this is the center. And we come to the center, and we sit around the table together, and we work the investigations together. And the focus—
Oh, wait a minute. Now, you work the investigation. Now, give an example of type of with crime that or whatever. juveniles don't commit crimes, they commit delinquent acts, right?
Well, this isn't for, this is focusing on a situation where a child is a victim.
Okay,
So
the
a
child is a
child's been
victim.
hurt. So
All
the
right,
child-
what's the age, an age group? Is there an age group?
There's, you're talking about minors, so under 18, but the reality is when you're talking about kids that are from the youngest age, could be 3 or 4 years old,
Okay.
up until about 16.
Oh, I
years
see.
old.
Right.
So you have a child who's a victim. Maybe, for example, you might have an 8-year-old boy who was reported to have been the victim of a
Right.
crime. He tells somebody that something happened to him. And instead of making him tell it over and over again, you take a social worker, and they come together with a police detective, and you
Okay.
get a prosecutor, and you might get a victim's advocate, and then you have a specially trained interviewer. And what happens is the child and the interviewer are together in a room, and the specially trained interviewer conducts the interview, and everybody else watches from another
Right,
room.
okay.
And so because they watch, and then it's taped, it's audio taped and videotaped, then we have the ability to have that tape, and we can use that as evidence. And you also have the ability to have the professionals say to the interviewer, at a break maybe, ask about this, try this, try this. And then what you have at the end is the best quality interview.
Right.
That then you can make decisions about what should happen.
Right.
Is there a crime? Who should be charged? Is there other investigation
Right.
that needs to be done? What kind of help does the child need? That's such a big part of this.
Right.
What kind of help does the child need to get better if they have been hurt?
Right.
Sometimes the answer is that the child hasn't been hurt and nothing happened, or whatever happened wasn't a crime. But it's a really professional way for everybody in the system, the child
Right,
welfare
right.
system, to work together for the best interest of our kids.
But, in other words, an investigation, it's like police and social workers, getting all that information together, right? Rather than, I have this and you have that, and, so that's,
You've done investigation, and typically you think of law enforcement, the police do the investigation, they pass it to the DA runs from there, and nothing is ever connected.
Right.
Social services was often another place. Well, we benefit, in an investigation, you need information.
Right.
So what's the best way to get as much information as possible to the table so we can make informed decisions about what happened and how we deal with it? And so, rather than everybody doing their own thing separately, we share information and we can make better decisions.
okay, how long you been, when did you start doing this? Come on.
Well, it goes back. When I was a line prosecutor working under Mike Marino, I went to him, so it's back in the 90s, in the early 90s, and I said, hey, how about this? And I remember back then, he said, look, you're not going to get, this is something you need every police chief to be on board with.
Yeah.
everybody needs to work together. That's not.
Everybody
that's
have
not-
their own agendas.
Right. And he said, look, no. He said, not right now. And to his credit, though, he always gave me what I needed to do my job.
Right, okay.
And gave me, was such a great person to work for. As years went by, and then Bruce Castor became DA, and then later I became first assistant. When I was first assistant, that's really when I started again on it.
Right, okay.
Because I had a particular experience with a particular case that inspired me to want to do something. It was a case that where a child had been abused by a number of people, and he was caught up in the system for many years. And so much of the criminal case dealt with talking about the interviewing and challenging the
Right.
detectives, and it was torturous for him.
Right.
And I got to know his mom really well, and could really see how it affected them, just dealing with the case, and how, because it took so long to deal with the
You're
case.
talking about now, we're talking about victims, right? The victims, sometimes,
Sure.
the police are not trained 100%, the line police officer on dealing with it. That's why you're getting professional help. That's why a police officer makes an arrest or anything, he wants to check with the district
Right.
attorney, make sure the paperwork is right and he's doing the right thing. So it's just like a fireman. It's his job to put the fire out. Policemen make the arrest, but the rest of the stuff is to the people that, like the DA and social worker, whatever.
We need the police for this too. Our police in Montgomery County, we have 52 separate agencies, jurisdictions.
52.
Which includes the state police, it includes my office. And there are 52 chiefs, there are, hundreds of police officers, and they're so well trained, and they do
Oh,
such
yeah.
an outstanding job. But these things don't happen, it's not that they're not trained, it's that these things don't happen enough in each of the individual
Yeah,
jurisdictions
right.
for them to become
Well,
experts.
what I mean is, it's not a routine thing. I mean,
Exactly.
when it hits, it's, and I know, I was a former police officer, I didn't have the training
Right.
that they have today, but we had to deal with it, and,
And it's hard.
now, there's no reason why we can't work together. I remember that some police didn't want to get involved with the DA, and the DA would, it was a lot of problems, so,
we don't
I'm
have
glad-
that.
This
We
is
don't
gonna
have
be
that
good.
now. We don't have that
I
now.
know you don't have that now, but I put up with it.
That was what you had to deal with, when you were working in law enforcement. And I think to a certain extent, when Mike talked to me years ago about the difficulty of doing it, I think you still had remnants of that time. But over the past, decade and a half, that's really changed. And
Right.
the first thing we did to make this happen was
Right.
go to the police chiefs. I paired up with Lori O'Connor, who is the director of the Office of Children and Youth. She is just
Yeah,
a
good,
fabulous,
yeah, right.
fabulous woman and a
Right, she's
fabulous.
been here a while. She was here when I was
She sure has. She and I started working together, and we knew we wanted to do this, and
Right.
we needed to figure out the way to do it. And we went to our police chiefs, and she and I presented to them together and explained what we wanted to do and why. And it was just an idea back
All
then.
right, all right. Your vision is there.
Mm-hmm.
People give money to a vision, like you're creating something. I remember the Columbus Monument, when I said, we're gonna build a monument there. People were sending money, and you got the vision, you got the enthusiasm, you got everything, you got the experience, and you got good people around you.
Mm-hmm.
So now tell us where this place is gonna be and how you're gonna work it, and start talking to all these guys that got fish hooks in their pockets. Get some money out, okay? We'll talk about that later. Come on, tell us where it's gonna.
I gotta get you on my fundraising committee for this. It's right, it's more than a vision. It started as a vision, it started as an idea, we got everybody on board, and now we have a location that we're renovating. We're sitting here today, we're at Norristown High School. We're right around the corner.
Norristown High School, Ray!
Right, that's right. We're in Norristown High School, right around the corner, right on Germantown Pike, between Whitehall Road and North Wales Road, on the farm park. It's on the grounds of the Norristown Farm Park. There's a farmhouse, and that farm.
Oh, the farmhouse.
You know the
Oh,
farmhouse.
okay. I know where it's at now. Yeah.
It's an old farmhouse, and actually, it used to be the residence for doctors at the state hospital.
Oh.
And it's been vacant for, I think, about 12 years or so. And while it looks terrible if you drive by it, it is actually structurally very sound. And that property, to cut through a lot of stuff that we've done for the past few years. We've talked to the community, we've talked to the farm park, but the advisory board and the Preservation Society, and we've got everybody willing
Together,
to let us use this for the benefit of our kids. Our county commissioners leased it to us, and so we have a wonderful architect named George Marks, who has come up with a
Where's he from?
magnificent. George is from, his office is on Bethlehem Pike. He's terrific. He actually he's done buildings around here, and George came up with a magnificent design for the building. And Bob Blue is an engineer who's doing the work preparing the site for us, township engineer, and he's been working with us. And we've had incredible support and donations from the industry to come up with the plan for us for what we're going to do. And now we have a renovation plan, and we're working on raising money to do the capital piece of the project.
All right, raising money. Let's talk about raising money now. Anybody out there wants to give any money, we're going to have something on the screen where to send it. We got to, tell us about your website. You have a website, you want to get more information?
Well, there are two ways people can reach us. I mean, this is so fresh that certainly they can, through the district attorney's office, they can call and get in touch with us at the DA's office.
Let me tell you, you got a very nice, sociable, cooperative secretary. When I called there,
Oh,
I
yes.
was running. I knew you had a big investigation going on, and I'm sweating here for and you're coming on. I called, and she said, she's on her way, So
You could say that about the
she's-
entire staff.
The whole
They're-
staff. Well,
they're
hey, I was a former
terrific.
county detective. I know Oscar Vance and the whole
Sure.
gang, But they're very cooperative, and we got a good staff here.
We
Good.
really do. So you can reach us through the DA's office. The DA's office website, if you actually go onto our county website, it's www.montcopa, it's montcopa.org. That's the Montgomery County website. You hit for the DA's office, you come to our DA's office website, and there's a link on the side. It's on the left-hand side. It says Keeping Kids Safe. And if you click on that, there are a bunch of different places you can go. One of them is Mission Kids, and that will give you the contact information for Mission Kids. It'll give you a direct way to get to our executive director, whose name is Abby Newman. There's a mailing address, there's an email address, there's a phone number, the whole thing.
I want to help you, so if anybody wants to give any money, get in touch with me, and I'll see the money goes over there or whatever donations or intentions are given, okay? I got a little bit of a cold. I'm a baritone. I went to sleep as a tenor, and I woke up as a baritone or something, But, all right, now, what are you going to name this building anything? What are you going to call it?
Well, we have a name.
Hey, there you
We
are.
have a name. It's called Mission Kids.
Huh?
Mission Kids.
Mission Kids.
That's the name.
That's the name of it, okay.
But although I have to tell you, if there's somebody out there who really wants us to name it in honor of some member of their family,
That's what I was
you know,
looking at.
Come
That's what I'm
talk
looking
to
at.
me. I would love to have it named in
Now,
honor
if I
of
could
someone.
give you $1 million, I'd call it the Cisco Kid
We could talk.
Hacienda.
You know what, though? It's more than just the building. I mean, we would love to name the building in memory of someone or in honor of someone.
Right.
But there are also a lot of opportunities for someone to name a particular room.
Right.
So if someone
That
wants to
could
make
be,
a
right.
significant donation where they wanted to do it in honor of someone or in memory of someone, everything, I mean, for small amounts or for larger amounts, there's so many different opportunities because we have a lot that we have to raise. I mean, there are a lot of things that we're going to be providing there. Everything from the place where a family can meet with the staff of the office to just go through some of the basic
Right,
information, to private rooms where we can take parents, family members, and actually, we might have to
Yeah.
share with them sometimes very private information, and we don't want them to be in full view of the public. So we've set aside certain rooms where we can share with them what happened and give them some resources,
Right.
whether via the internet or some other
Right,
tools
right.
about how to help heal the child. We have training facility in there for members of the team, for police and prosecutors and social workers. We have interview rooms, actually 2 interview rooms lined up where we have an interview room and an observation room. And we actually built in, even though we won't provide direct counseling services, we built in a counseling room so that the facility is available for someone, you know, for an outside subcontractor to provide those kind of services. Because we want to make it, we want to provide one more resource for children and families to be able to tap into all of the things that they might need when they're going through our systems.
How did they get involved, because of a court case, and then as a result of the trial, the judge hears the case, and then they say, well, okay, this child needs help. When does you step in to help to put them in there?
That's a really
And for
good
what
question,
reason?
and it's actually before. We would get involved at the earliest possible stage. If you think about it from your perspective as a former police officer, somebody makes a report to the police that something might have happened.
Oh, okay.
And that sets in motion an investigation and a chain of events, both on the social work side, the social services side, and in the law enforcement side. So we'll get a referral right there at the very beginning, and that's when we step in. So we're there from the very, very beginning to make sure the investigation is done properly. That's why it's so important to have the DA involved. That's why it was
Right.
the DA down in Huntsville, Alabama that put it together. Because you need someone to quarterback the whole thing and make sure that
Right.
all of the pieces that have to get taken care of are. You know, children and youth, they have specific legal obligations. The police have legal obligations.
Right.
The medical and mental health people, they have different obligations. So you have to find this vehicle through which everybody can meet their own obligations, but still focus on what is going to be
Right.
in the best interests of a particular child who may or may not be a victim.
Right.
So let's treat the child carefully
But
to
what you're-
figure out what happened.
What you're saying is that the police officer initial investigation should have his antennas up, and he detects something, refer it to the proper, is that what we're saying?
It is, but they do already. And that's
I know that, but
the beauty of
that
it.
is the idea.
That's
And
it.
then, as a result of that, something serious comes out, just like your investigation in the school over there. You know, it started like a little bit and then wind up with a big investigation, see?
Exactly.
It's almost like the governor in Illinois.
Yeah,
Oh, my own.
maybe we won't touch that one.
That's
Wow.
something else.
Wow,
It's
that
a
is
little bit of a thing. You know, that's another story.
Yeah, we thankfully, our political corruption unit has not had to deal with anything.
Yeah, that's
like
right. You
that.
have tell me that you have a regular political corruption unit. You got the sex unit. You got the crime. Whatever. You got what else?
Well, we do the things that are the basic things you would think about. We do
Right.
narcotics enforcement. We have a major crimes unit that deals with a variety of crimes. They could be robberies, they could be burglaries, they could
Right.
be various thefts. We have an economic crime unit that focuses on white-collar crime, fraud,
Right.
embezzlement.
That-
And we see all...
That
we
touches
see
the heartstrings. A lot of people getting
Sure.
robbed. You know.
We see so many cases like
Right.
that, of cases, cases where people are just greedy and taking other people's money. We have an elder abuse unit, which has become something that we started this year, where we work with aging and adult services, and we work as part of a task force. And that's actually another initiative where you used to have people working separately. You would have police and prosecutors working separately from aging and adult services, and by putting our resources together and working as part of a task force, we're able to really get in and both train the investigators on how to do the cases best, but also get involved in cases where we can help people. You have a lot of seniors who have
Right.
been victimized, and sometimes sometimes they don't really know where to go, and the system doesn't know how to handle it. So we've put resources together to better
And
do that.
sometimes parents use the police or agencies to get rid of their kids. I had to give it a little experience when I was a policeman, juvenile. This lady brought her kid in 2 o'clock, about 8 o'clock at night on the Friday night. I could smell alcohol in her breath and her boyfriend, and she said, my son, I want to put him away. At that time, we could petition very easy, you know.
Right.
Now it's a little different. And he won't listen to me. He won't listen to me. So I'm sitting there, you know, I kind of, you know, being a fighter, I bob and weave. I look at the kid and I said, you know, I'm looking at him and he's looking at his mother and I says, she's saying, he won't listen to me. I talk to him, he won't listen to me. So I looked at the kid and the kid's still looking at his mother and I says, Johnny, why don't you listen to your mother? Why don't you, you know? And he's still looking at his mother. I says, Johnny, kid is deaf, completely deaf in the one ear and he was losing the other. I says, well, you know, what is this? I took him, called up the school psychologist, you know, boom. And that kid needed help, but he had a problem. Now, who knows how much schooling he's been losing? But, you know, if I would have been, well, okay, just sign a petition. The mother wants him there, you know, so she can go out with her boyfriend, get bombed, you know. So that's what you can help.
Sure, that's
say,
just like when you were doing the job. It's paying attention to detail.
Right.
It's going
Listen.
beyond. It's going beyond what's on paper and listening and looking for more detail, looking for more information, being willing to go the extra mile.
Right.
And that's what makes our law enforcement community work so well. It's what makes these kind of collaborations work so well, because you have people who are willing to step outside of their day-to-day jobs. You know, they're not looking at the clock and saying, okay, I'm 8:30 to 4:15 and I'm going to go home and, you know, whatever's left there, I'm going to go. They're willing to come in and give it the extra time and give the extra effort to make sure that what they're doing is really going to help someone.
Right. Okay, now, this place will be open, what, like 24 hours? That's a working deal, I guess.
Yeah,
How would they work with that?
You know, I don't think it's
Who would be in
24.
charge of it, oversee it, be like, would it be detaining overnight or anything, or just
No,
daytime?
no. It's, you know, really designed to be daytime, because if you think,
Oh, okay.
if you think about this, in most situations.
It's almost like a courthouse.
Yeah, a little bit. If a child has to be interviewed, you know, you're not going to be interviewing a kid at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, there might be a handful of situations you would, but in most cases, you're not going to be talking to a kid at that hour. You're going to be doing whatever. If you get a report at odd hours, you're going to regroup and you're going to schedule a time when the child comes in.
Right.
So it's more like a doctor's office. It's not meant to be the emergency room. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be a crisis facility. It's not meant to be a shelter. It's really meant to be the safe place for a child to come if they have to be interviewed by any aspect, any part of the system, the child welfare system, be it the law enforcement side or the social services side, in relation to possible either sexual abuse or serious physical abuse. And so you're going to do that in a way that's going to be most comfortable for kids, which is going to be the daytime.
Right.
You know, if there's a crisis situation, we can handle that, but most of these things don't happen like that. They happen in ways where we can deal with them business hours. And in terms of who's going to run it, we already have an executive director. We have a wonderful woman named Abby Newman who came to us because she's a lawyer and she was a child advocate for our child advocacy project.
Who is it?
You've never met her, but I'm going to introduce her to you.
I don't know her.
You'll love her. You'll
Newman.
love her. Newman.
Newman. Any reason to say to Newman, my friend, judge?
Our friend, our mutual friend.
Our friend, that's right.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But her background is, she was a pediatric nurse. She lived up in New York and then went to law school and then became an attorney and a partner in one of our Philadelphia law firms doing medical malpractice defense.
I want to meet her, right?
You do. And then she got into nonprofit work, and then she started working volunteer pro bono as a child advocate right here in Montgomery County.
Good.
And everybody loved her. She did great work, and she's so smart, and she understands the medical system, and she understands pediatrics, and as a lawyer, she understands the court system. So she's plugged into so many different places in our systems that she was just an easy pick, and our board picked her as their executive director, so she's already on board.
Risa, you know, you dropped the seed to give you an idea that you want to get involved with children, and now you're top district attorney in Montgomery County, and murders, suicides, whatever, bombing and everything else. What dropped the seed that want you to do that? I mean, your background is what? You went to what schools, in Philly?
You know, I'm local. I mean, you know, I grew up in Abington, and I really had, my path was very focused on our family business. I thought I was going to be in the jewelry business with my family. But I did a great internship in law school, and I really just caught the bug wanting to be a prosecutor. I mean, the work that I'm doing for kids, that really
Right.
that really came out of.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah,
see?
that really came out of just doing these cases when I was a young prosecutor. I mean, I didn't have any idea that that's where I wanted to be, but I got them,
Right.
just like on the wheel. That's how I got it. The file was handed to me, and
Right.
they said, here, go do this.
Right.
And, I did DUI cases, I did theft cases, I did burglary cases, I did robbery cases. Nothing got my gut the way the child abuse cases did.
right.
And just all the cases where I was dealing with families and kids.
Well,
So it got me in the gut, and you know how things are. If it gets you in the gut and you're passionate
All
about
right.
it moves you, it inspires you, and you love coming to work.
All right, I want one thing, I want everybody to know. Risa Ferman is not doing this here for any political reason. She's not doing it to add on to her resume. She's got her heart and soul in this, and I want the audience to put their heart and soul and a little bit of money in there too. And this is great. I spent most of my life, 27 years in Norristown Police and 13 County, and I know I worked, it's all mostly juvenile, so this is great. I'm so happy that you were able to make it, and I wish you luck, and if anybody else you have to talk about this, and keep me abreast with it, okay?
I would
And so
love to.
what we do here, and I got a little token appreciation, this channel 28 Comcast, channel 45 Verizon, Upper Merion, Conshohocken, White Marsh, East North, West Norton.
Do I get
okay?
that?
And then
Do I
that
get
goes
that?
to you to hang in your office. And I come in your office, I better see it someplace up there.
I will treasure that. Thank you very much.
And all right, now here we go here. Allah salud, means to your health.
Jenna.
Stay healthy. Until we meet again, Merry Christmas. And please, send money. Make phone calls, okay? Get in touch with me, get in touch with Risa, okay? And away we go. Grazie.
I couldn't say that.
Allah salud.
I'll have to get you.
Who got the pizza?